Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be reading the camouflaging Carnotaurus scene from Michael Crichton's novel The Lost World Jurassic Park. So without further ado, let's get on to the reading. Thorn walked into the shed that sat near the empty drums of gas that he just examined. He knew InGen would have to have a couple months worth of gasoline for the support vehicles if they wanted to do anything productive on the island. But he couldn't seem to find any further cars. He figured that the shed would have some more drums for him to check, and it in fact did. But just as the ones outside, they too were empty. Feeling defeated, the doctor began to move towards the entrance to the shed to alert the others of their situation. But the man paused after he heard the unmistakable sound of heavy breathing. Something was wrong. Back in the lab, Richard Levine looked out into the distance with only the moon to light his view. He'd been waiting for Thorn for nearly a minute and was beginning to grow worrisome of what way be out in the dark waiting for them all. He listened to the soft sounds of the night and noticed that he could still hear the snarls of the angry velociraptors that had chosen to stay away from the entrance of the laboratory. Why had the raptors not followed them? This question calmed Levine. He loved working things out. Maybe they chose to stay away due to some atavistic fear of their birthplace. They remembered the cages and didn't want to be captured again. But that didn't make much sense for a velociraptor. No, the most likely reason was probably the simplest. They didn't come here because this was some other animal's territory. Something had scent marked and defended this area that made the raptors reluctant to enter. Richard stopped for a second to remember that even the tyrannosaurs that passed through here did so without stopping. He didn't like that. He remained sitting at the window patiently waiting for the doctor's return. At the entrance of the shed, Thorn listened silently. He heard the snorting exhalations of something similar to a quiet horse. This animal was waiting. He looked hard into the night but could see nothing. Only the soft sound of breathing was able to alert him that he was not alone. It sounded like a faint breeze, but there was no breeze and the trees weren't moving, or were they? Thorn stared hard out of the entrance and saw the patterns of nearby bushes move ever so slightly before stabilizing again. Thorn thought that maybe it wasn't the bushes moving but rather the chain-like fence that sat behind them. Maybe an animal was pushing up against the fence which had caused it to rattle. Then suddenly the lights from the lab came on and for just a split second he saw them. Just a few meters away stood two 7-foot-tall dinosaurs. A pattern of bush leaves covered their legs before their upper torsos imitated the chain-link fence behind them, and then just as suddenly as they had come into view, they vanished. Thorn couldn't believe such an astonishing mimicry. If he had not seen their outlines he would not have even known they were there. He began to back slowly into the shed. Meanwhile Levine stared out at the dinosaurs that he had just seen camouflage into the night. They had been discovered as soon as Sarah flicked on the lights, yet it disappeared again so smoothly and unbelievably that it disturbed him. "What is it?" Sarah asked, but Levine just told her to look. She stared into the darkness for a second but couldn't see what he was talking about. She didn't understand. Levine told her to turn out the lights again and look. When she did, she hurried back to the windows to see what he was going on about. This time she saw them instantly. "Oh shit, what are they?" Levine described the camouflaging ability as something genetic that a chameleon may possess, but no chameleon he'd ever seen was able to produce such complex patterns. She grew impatient and asked again, "What are they?" Levine stopped and said that he presumed them to be Carnotaurus astrati from Patagonia. 3 meters tall with bulldog-like snouts and horns above their eyes, carnivorous and currently hunting. Meanwhile, Thorn's eyes were frantically darting around the forest trying to find the dinosaurs when suddenly the lights began flickering on and off repeatedly. This caused the Carnotauruses to become stressed out and begin moving forward. Soon, he saw them. They looked like small tyrannosaurs, and they were advancing on his position. They began snorting and sniffing before one of them decided to lower its head and walk into the entrance. Thorn held his breath as he curled up under a table. Without notice, bright beams of light from outside hit the animals' bodies. The Carnos turned and saw two humans casting their torches at them from the other building. One of the animals snapped and growled at Sarah and Levine before returning to the forest. The other dinosaur rammed its head into a wall and ran back into the jungle.